All right, welcome back to another episode on the Growth Over Fear podcast. I'm so excited. We have a wonderful guest, Nick Dyack with Namadia Holistic Therapies. And I am so excited. I met Nick when I was out in Denver, in our through relationships and like business networking. And he is just an amazing human all around, inside and out, beautiful being. And so I'm so excited to dive deep today into emotional health. As a counselor and Tai Yi practitioner, Nicholas has over 10 years of experience addressing mental health and emotional well being using holistic modalities. And he's actually one of 40 Tai Chi practitioners in the world.
Mhm.
So his approach is very unique, holistic, and very powerful. Thank you so much for coming on, Nick.
Yeah.
Did I say that right? Is it Tai Yi or Tai Chi?
Yeah, it's pronounced Tai Yi. So Tai Chi and Tai Yi have a similar history, but Tai Yi is several thousands of years older than that.
Okay.
And Tai Yi is more akin, most people would think of it more in the realm of like how acupuncture works with the meridians and the lines of energy in the body. Tai Chi
Okay.
is more it's considered a martial art, like slow movement. And so they're different in terms of the applications, but the core philosophy is like similar in terms of the energetics of the bodies. But yeah, it's
Okay.
pronounced Tai Yi.
Tai Yi. Because after I was like, Tai Chi. Yeah, I think of martial arts. And I'm like, no, he doesn't do that. So, yeah, tell me more of like how you utilize Tai Yi, like that
Sure.
practice.
So the full name of Tai Yi is called Life Energy Flow Tai Yi, and Tai Yi is more attributes to the original ancient practices of it. But life energy flow relates to how the different energetic systems of the different bodies interconnect with each other. So we look at it as very similar to how acupuncture works in terms that works with these lines of energy that travel throughout different parts of the body, and they actually breathe and synchronize with each other to create energetic expressions. So when you look at it, there's a physical body, a mental body, emotional, and then astral, etheric, and we have what are called the soul and spirit bodies. But each of them interweave with each other, and the different energetic systems actually it's like a street or the different highway systems in terms of how they flow and interconnect. But basically, what we do is we can do a Tai treatment that works on a specific area and has a specific purpose and begin creating a reinforcing or a detoxing effect in people. So it's really neat for lots of different psychological issues.
Wow, so cool. Is that the practice or actually never mind, I won't go into that.
Yeah.
Tell me more about like how you got into this, right? Like how you got into being a therapist in this wellness space. Where did it all stem from?
Oh man. In my earlier years, my late teenage years and my early 20s, I actually had issues with depression and Uh, it's kind of crazy looking back on it because I have so much. There's a lot of differences in my life now, but I ended up going in for one of the Tai Chi treatments that assist with kind of coming to peace with the self and in terms of my own personality and my own expression of who I am. And it actually helped me within. It was kind of crazy. Within a week, I actually was beginning to alleviate the experiences I have with being depressed. And the craziest thing I remember is looking back on it at the time, I don't think I realized I had been in states of ongoing depression until I was out of them. So that was one of the big contributing factors is going to one of the practitioners and actually feeling the experience of it. And then the other part of it is what got me into being a therapist is I've been doing men's groups, men's work for the last I don't know, like 12 years at this point, and that actually really made me comfortable in terms of working and helping to facilitate growth and helping men like work through their issues. And then I was able to be on the recipient end of it where like they helped me to process through what's going on with me. And um, I really have to say the Mankind Project is just absolutely wonderful organization to be part of. And they kind of helped me to realize like, oh, maybe I could actually do this in terms of being a therapist and working with people in mental health.
Yeah, that's amazing. What's the group called?
The organization's called the Mankind Project.
Okay.
Really wonderful organization. They do what are called I groups, which are groups of men that will get together either weekly or bi-monthly, and they help to work and facilitate and process themselves and just work through different issues. And then they've got something called the New Warrior Training Adventure, or what's called an NWTA. It's a weekend retreat that's like a rite of passage. And what's really neat is I'm actually the weekend coordinator for this upcoming one in April. So I'm literally coordinating and managing over 50 different staff guys to help set up
Wow.
this retreat. And then we should have somewhere between 20 and 25 initiates. It's just kind of mind-blowing. I'm the guy behind the scenes setting all it up. It's really, really cool.
Wow, that's super cool. Especially to be on
Yeah.
the other side of it now. Like
Yeah.
that's
Well,
amazing.
I went through the initiation process that they have, I think back in 2013, and it's intense. It's really a powerful experience for these guys, and I've come back to staff about over 10 times for the last decade, which has been really cool.
That's super cool. And then so how long have you had your practice now?
I think I'm coming up on about five, maybe 5.5 years at this point.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah, super cool. And I know you kind of got into like Ayurveda, right? Medicine a
Okay,
little bit?
so I work alongside an Ayurvedic practitioner, and she is phenomenal. She's been going to school for Ayurveda for about 10 years. She actually hates when I say this, so I always preface with that.
Yeah.
But she's on the equivalent, if there's a certification in the US for this, she's equivalent to about a doctorate level in
Wow.
terms of Ayurvedic medicine. I work pretty closely with her sometimes, so we will refer different clients back and forth to each other. And she does a phenomenal job with Ayurveda, like all the herbs and diets and all the different, I mean, there's so much to it, but she's been really, really helpful in terms of actually helping me, but also helping so many of my clients.
Yeah, that's amazing. But yeah, something that I dove deeper once I got like my integrative health practitioner cert was that was a huge part of it was the Ayurvedic medicine, and it was so amazing to like
Mhm.
recognize the different body types and just how your yeah, how those have different meaning as far as like the foods that you should be eating and like for me like being more like vata, like having more
Mhm.
warming foods and like routine. I'm like, yep, that's me. Like, it's very interesting. Um okay,
I
so
always
it
suspected you were a Vata, by the way.
you what?
I always suspected you were a Vata.
Yeah, it's very long long
Yeah.
limbs.
Yeah.
Um okay, so I want to just dive right in like
Sure.
because lately with the clients that I work with, I want to ask you just how often you're seeing this. Like people who are struggling,
Mhm.
sometimes not because of maybe their own emotions, but because of the emotional energy of others around them. How
Yep.
often do you see that showing up? And yeah, and like processing that.
Sure. So, I mean, I see it pretty widespread going on right now, particularly as it relates to kind of bigger geopolitical stuff. I see that
Yeah.
all the time. And then, I mean, just the last client I was seeing about an hour before I jumped on the call with you, he was trying to work through something going on with his own mom in terms
Mm,
of I see a lot of people have different value systems,
yeah.
and they think if I do it this way and they do it this way, we will agree. And both people are communicating with a sense of intention of like, I care about you or I want to support you. But then they end up leaving the other person kind of emotionally burdened afterwards or kind
Mm.
of becomes harmful. At least that's what I was talking about with this person earlier.
Yeah, so like I mean that's definitely showing up a lot more like you're saying
Yeah.
I feel like with politics and
Oh
just the
God.
state of everything that's going on and yeah, everyone's values are different and like I think,
Oh yeah.
that's part of being human. It's beautiful to all be different.
Hmm.
If we're all the same, that would be no fun.
No.
It's a good way to I always think like the more for me I'm like I'm open to having conversations. I want to understand
Yeah.
your opinion and learn because everyone's raised different, everything like that. So I guess to not like what is the best approach for like staying positive I don't know, like staying positive without suppressing, your emotions in those states of, for example, you're at work or in passing and there's just conversations that are leaving you
Yeah.
feeling anxiety or stressed.
Well, I think one of the most important things is exactly what you said, that each of us has a different value system in terms of how we want to express ourselves. I mean, people are different in parts of different religions, parts of different groups, sexualities, sexual identities, and all that. And I think the important thing to recognize is even if we express ourselves a certain way, for the most part, we all kind of want the same thing, which might sound really odd, especially as it comes into geopolitics. But for the most part, people just want to feel safe. They want to
Mm.
feel loved. They want to feel supported. They want to feel seen. And I think what ends up happening is we take issues that become very polarizing And it's like we pull each other apart, not realizing that we do want the same thing, but expressed in very, very different ways. In terms of on a personal, emotional, day-to-day level, in terms of working with emotions that we have going on there, I think the best way to work with that is first off recognizing going into the world that we're not actually as divided as I think people might paint it. We actually probably have a lot more in common than we realize. But also, the second thing to be aware of is if someone's triggering the hell out of you, there's a wonderful technique I've been trying on recently that just works with helping me with myself in my day-to-day life. If I ever find myself upset or angry or reactive to people, the thing I actually repeat back to myself is, I'm responsible for my emotions. I am responsible for my emotions. And what's really neat about that is if someone is upset, in the moment that they're feeling upset, it's not as if that the upsetness is going to go away all of a sudden, but recognizing that they are having their experience and that may have brought up something inside of me, but it doesn't mean that my emotions are their emotions. It doesn't mean that they're trying to bring this out of me. Sometimes they might, but for the most part, when I get triggered by other people, whether they're driving crazy or they're saying something that's stepping on my toes, it's not their emotions. It's my emotions. I'm having the anger. I'm having the upset. I'm having the reaction. And so, one thing I think that's really beautiful and I've seen in the moment is if I tell myself I'm responsible for my emotions, not like I'm judging myself or I'm judging them,
Hmm.
which might be occurring, but they're mine. I'm responsible for them. In that moment, I've seen it be able to just shift enough where I might still have that emotion, but I'm not reacting, I'm not judging, and I'm not jumping on the other person like really quickly. Does
Mm.
that make sense?
Yes, that does.
Yeah.
That's super helpful. Like it's almost like, yeah, taking a pause and
Yes.
stating that to you rather than being reactive because it is
Yeah.
very easy to jump right into that. Like you're feeling
Oh
so,
yeah.
it's building up and then, and I think that's a practice, right? Like at least in my
Yes.
own
Oh yeah.
experience, like it's such a practice to when you are triggered or really stressed or someone makes even like a passive comment that
Oh
bugs
yeah.
you, it's like it just builds and like it affects your whole day, right? Like one little thing can really carry over, right? And you're dealing with that the rest of the day.
Oh yeah.
So like I think it's a practice, but also it's helpful that you're, have that approach of just saying I'm responsible for my emotions. I'm not responsible for theirs, how they react, what they're thinking, but I can take control of how I'm feeling in this moment.
Oh yeah.
Um,
And there's a few techniques. We actually use this in the men's groups that I'm part of. There's something called an energetic shield. And it's really fascinating because conceptually it sounds very like esoteric and out there, but literally imagining when you're interacting with someone as if you have a very physical, maybe like a wooden or a metal shield or like a force field around you,
mhm.
but actually imagining it being there is phenomenal. I have guys that will go through this process where we help them discover what their shield looks like. We have them imagine it, and we actually have them, interestingly enough, proceed to just yell at each other right afterwards. We say, we want you to let it go. You're doing this guy a favor by actually projecting all this energy towards them. And we have guys that just imagining that there's a shield right in front of you, it actually blocks the other person. And it's a phenomenal process because I think what people don't realize is they go out and you're going to run into stuff. You're going to run into little pokey things and things that make you angry or annoyed, all sorts of things. But if you can just imagine being in your bubble, that actual imagery can help you to imagine pushing it away, not having the experience with it. And
Mm.
the cool thing is we'll do a process called a clearing. We'll have a guy actually say his judgments towards another man, which is just crazy to think about.
Yeah, that's
And we
cool.
have the guy hold up his shield as if he's not going to take it on and actually hold that energy. And it's just a neat experience in terms of not taking on other people's crap and all their stuff, you know?
Hmm. It's so hard, especially
Oh yeah.
if you are someone that is going through a lot of emotions
Oh yeah.
already. Not even dealing with everyday stuff that you come in contact with or stressful people. But if you're already feeling like low,
Oh yeah.
depressed, or, that makes it even harder because you're already in that spot. But what is like, I like the shield idea though.
Yeah.
That's a cool, yeah, imagery. What do you feel like is, when we talk about like true emotional resilience,
Mhm.
resilience is one of my favorite words. So, what does that look like in everyday life?
I think there's two things I'll talk about. So there's emotional maturity, and I think emotional maturity feeds into emotional resilience. And I think by definition, emotional maturity is recognizing that everyone is different and we can honor that even if we don't agree with that. And then emotional resiliency is really truly, it's when you know who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Now, knowing who I am doesn't mean just knowing the best parts of myself. If I knew just the best parts of myself, I'd say, oh, got great hair, got good skin. I'm totally full of myself at the moment, but knowing yourself is also knowing, oh, I tend to get eczema sometimes during the winter times. That's not so
Mm-hmm.
great. Now apply that on an emotional level. If you recognize specifically what your values are in terms of what's important to you, that also tells you what might be triggering to you sometimes when you disagree with people. But also, if you know that you have a tendency to be like constitutionally, like you said, vata or pitta or kapha, if you know you have a tendency towards certain reactions, certain emotions, some people I talk to, they say when they get upset, they start crying.
Mm.
Other people I know, when they get upset, they become very angry and sometimes violent. It's all about understanding who you are and how you respond to people because that gives you an insight in terms of how to be resilient with that. If I know my issue is I have a tendency towards anger, well, I'm going to be aware of that going into different situations and I'm able to handle it saying, if I'm being responsible with my anger, with my sadness, with my emotions, I can be more resilient.
Mm.
It's literally that idea of knowing is the first line of defense in terms of how we interact with people, if that makes sense.
Yes, that makes sense. Yeah, totally. Yeah, knowing yourself, knowing every aspect of you, like what
Yes.
triggers you, what values you have that you might disagree with, knowing your emotions, how you respond to them. I mean, that's
Yeah.
like you said, knowing is so powerful, especially with how you respond to different emotions.
Well,
Because, like, yeah, whether you cry or
yeah.
like another one, which this is what I want to get into as well, was like dissociation.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
that's also a big thing. Like, I feel like I used to do this a lot, so I can put myself under the bus of like how to have healthy, yeah, boundaries versus like dissociation or like how to process emotions. Yeah, any insight there of like why we tend to dissociate.
Oh God. Yeah. So I'm just going to drop the exact same book I dropped when I was talking to Saul, which
Oh,
is
okay.
there's a great book called The Body Keeps the Score.
Yes, I love that book. I read it
Very cool.
last year.
Yeah.
So it was a lot. It took me so long to read
Oh
this
yeah.
book. Oh my God.
That is not an easy read. For how
No.
much I think people talk about it, it's a very
Yes.
dense, very academic book in some
Yes.
ways. But
So good.
the reason most of the time people disassociate, I mean, there's a simplistic reason, which is, hey, I don't want to be here. Well,
Mm-hmm.
can I physically leave? Not really. Or maybe I don't want to be here, and even though I can leave, I actually have an internal issue, meaning my emotions are too much, my memories are too much. I had a trauma that occurred at this point. Disassociation, if I was going to work with someone who disassociated, the very first thing I would say is recognize it as a tool first. We're not saying it's a good, bad, right, or wrong. You use it, and probably most people use it well for what they need it for. They might not use it well in terms of the consequences of being disassociated. But most of the time, when someone disassociates, it's a not good feeling that occurs here, and I can't be present for it. And so
Mm-hmm.
I just kind of go away. I step outside of myself. Another disassociation I see quite often is people can be very analytical. And the thing I tell them is that they're disassociating between their body and emotions and their head. And people that
Mm-hmm.
overthink, the tool I usually give them as a starter is you can overthink as much as you want, just as long as you're feeling as you're overthinking. And so I'll tell them, you can think, people tend to think in circles and they think, oh, da 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 da, perseverate, keep going, talk about this, da da da. As long as you are choosing to feel while you are thinking it, it tends to kick people out of that circulating cycle a little bit faster. It doesn't mean that they won't still have the same thoughts, but if you feel while you're thinking, it helps it so it's not just this analytical circle, if that makes sense.
Mm.
I didn't know if you were talking about disassociation in terms of being hypermental or just like kind of not being present in your body. Which one were you wanting to focus
Oh, well, yeah, I actually didn't realize there's probably, yeah, multiple different. I was thinking, yeah, emotional.
on?
Um, but no, that was helpful. Like, feel, because I think overthinking is another one. Yeah, a
Yeah.
lot of,
Yes.
especially women that I work with, right? We're overthinkers. We like
Yeah.
need to process, and sometimes we get so caught up, yeah, in our head. And I always say like you have to get out like as being a personal trainer, I'm like get out of your head,
Yeah.
into your body, into your heart. Um, so that was helpful too. Do you find like a tool to be helpful with that? Like how to yeah, get back to that feeling or like go back to your heart.
Well, there's a couple parts to that. First off, one of the really helpful ways that people can work on disassociating is that they can write down the issue and look at it. So what I mean by that is sometimes it's really helpful to externalize and then look at something. Because in the moment when I'm going through it, I can find myself go, woo, I'm going over here, I'm not being present, I'm totally gone. And if I just were to either talk to a friend or sit down and write it or even talk aloud so that I can hear it, it can be really helpful because it gives an external perspective. And sometimes, a lot of times when I work with people, there's two perspectives in this example. There is objective and subjective. And when we're in our subjective experience, we can have a very logical sense of things, but it doesn't matter. We're in the experience, we're having the emotion, we're having the feeling. And what's really helpful is in these dynamics to help to change from subjective to more objective, meaning writing it down or talking with someone or just taking a look at from an outside perspective as if you were a second person to yourself talking to yourself.
Mm.
And that can be really helpful when people begin to disassociate. It's going through that process of saying, am I safe? And if someone doesn't feel safe, then they go away emotionally. And so one of the core questions is writing down what the experience was, what's happening, and then writing down the question of, am I safe or am I just uncomfortable?
Mm.
And really being clear because truly someone can feel like they're unsafe because they had a trauma, they had experience over here, and that really was unsafe when it happened most of the time. But now what it does is it creates a reverberation of discomfort
Mhm.
and us allowing ourselves to say, okay, that happened, that was unpleasant, but in this physical moment, in this physical time now, I'm okay and getting people to step down into that. Now, there's a slew of things that can happen though. They can have lots of emotions come up that are related or unrelated. They can have all sorts of experiences where they get very agitated. So coming to being present in your body, not disassociating, it is quite a task, and there can be multiple layers between that. And I'm not going to dismiss that. It's about allowing it to go slowly and
Yeah.
getting back down. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I like that. I mean, personally, yeah, I find writing things down, like journaling is
Yeah.
so helpful for me. Even, I mean, there's been periods of time where I'll do like memos, like on my
Mhm.
phone.
Yes. Yes.
And yeah, that in itself, I feel like is such a great way to process. Like, it's like,
Yes.
yeah, you're talking to someone or think you are, but it's really yourself you're talking to.
Yes. Yeah.
And yeah, I've done that like specifically I remember doing it 1 year on my birthday, and that was just good to just like reflect and like
Yeah.
chat all my thoughts out. And yeah, so that's a good tip. I like it.
Well, it's like we filter information differently when we're in a subjective mind. We're in the experience, which being subjective is great. Like if you're eating cake, for example, or if you're dancing, feeling it, just being present, not thinking about it is great. You're in the experience. But then if you apply that to trauma or disassociation, sometimes it's helpful to step outside and look in.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like a little superpower because a lot of the filters that will show up where someone says it to me, I feel defensive or reactive or dissociative. Whereas if I act like I'm a separate person, it kind of circumnavigates around those defense mechanisms because it's like, oh, we're just talking about Nick. Oh, I know Nick. He's over here. And it allows our mind to sidestep it, which is really cool.
Yes. Is there an example that you think is really common?
An example of what?
Like dissociation, like what people are dissociating from,
Oh, maybe. I mean, there's a few different things. People can disassociate,
or like
particularly
signs. Yeah, like signs of this. Yeah.
signs of them disassociate. Well, there's a few things. First off, if you have a lot of ether element, if you have a lot of vata, you're probably going to be more flighty to begin with. That's constitutionally comes with that. So if you're more air ether quality, you're very likely to just not be fully in your body all the time. And so you have to work on the fire and the grounding part of yourselves. You have to work on getting those
Mm.
more balanced. The other part though is a lot of people there's groups that are trauma based where they have a either a physical or an emotional trauma, and it's literally they've been disassociated for so long they don't realize they're disassociated.
Mm-hmm.
It can be in the moment, I don't want to experience this uncomfortableness. Am I safe or am I uncomfortable? I don't want to experience this discomfort. And so I take the easiest route, which is just not being fully present. It could be completely a physical issue, meaning dietary or different herb supplements, different pharmaceuticals, different things that actually make it difficult to be fully grounded in your body. So there's a lot of reasons why. If you know the reason why, you can work with that. From a psychological point of view, though, if I was seeing someone disassociate, the bottom line is they're probably not feeling comfortable in their body in the moment. Now we look at
Mm,
why. Well,
mm.
it could be, I mean, there could be so many different things to look at.
Yeah. Yeah, it could, like you said, it could be a lot, especially, yeah, like trauma
Oh
that
yeah.
happened even like years ago that
Yes.
you're finding yourself, you haven't even dealt with, but it keeps kind of
Yeah.
showing up, but you don't know why. Like sometimes we don't even realize that trauma is still with us, like you're
Yes.
saying, and like showing up in the ways that we're triggered throughout the day
Yes.
or that we get angry or that we get anxious. It is so fascinating, especially once you get deeper into this, right? Working on
Mhm.
yourself, where you start to discover, yeah, like why your tendencies, like why you
Yep.
tend to like always have, I don't know, I'm just throwing out like a glass of wine at night when you're like super
Yep.
stressed, or why you tend to like sleep in and not go out, wake up at your alarm. I don't know. Like these are just random
Oh yeah.
things, but like I think they show up in these minor ways that we're not really aware of. Would you
Oh,
agree?
completely. Oh, yeah. I think one of the biggest things, if people were to just look at one thing in terms of their relationship with self, it's how they handle stress
Mm,
and discomfort, but usually specifically discomfort related to stress, whether it's a physical stress, emotional stress, mental stress. If you recognize what you do with stress and also what you do to avoid stress, that's like a manual to understanding how people operate with discomfort and different issues. I mean, and people have so many different constitutional types, different body types in terms of how they handle it. But if you look at it, usually disassociation at its core is a stress. It's a rub, it's a dissonance, and whether it's a physical, a mental, or emotional one, it's usually I can't handle this. I don't want to be here. And it gives people a level of control where they say, I am disassociated. Good.
mm-hmm.
I have control. I do this on my terms. You are hurting me right now, or I feel threatened, or I perceive this. Well, I'm choosing to keep myself safe. I'm choosing to keep myself away from what I perceive as an issue.
That's a wow. Yeah, that's really
Yeah.
helpful to yeah explain it that way. Because yeah, I think it shows up the control when you said control. Because again, there's so many
Yeah.
examples of like seeing that, right? Like we try and control
Yes.
everything we can, especially when it comes to stress. Yeah, like
Yes.
I am getting really overwhelmed, so I'm gonna, work until the evening because I'm like, no, I need to get this done, but I'm also like kind of dissociating because
Yep.
yeah, it's I don't know. But okay, so how can we? I guess you kind of already answer this, but I was gonna go along the lines of like staying present with
Mhm.
these difficult feelings without becoming overwhelmed.
Well, there's a couple approaches you can look at. They all play in together. One is you can do stuff in the moment, and then there's also you can look at your history and your pattern. And I tell a lot of people I work with, I go, I trust how you feel in the moment, but I trust your patterns more.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the ways we can work with things is to start off with just being a curious observer, which I love that phrase. No judgment, no assessment, no, I should or shouldn't do this, but being a curious observer and being a curious scientist specifically. So if we disassociate at the beginning of it, it's not necessarily to stop ourselves from disassociating, it's to observe when and why and what are we doing. And then when you get enough of a sense of why you do it, when you get a sense of that pattern, then you have more of an opportunity to work with it. Some people, they'll try to jump into it and they're like, I'm just going to be present. I'm just going to do this. And they don't know why. And that can create its own set of issues where they feel frustrated because they're not doing it right. They're not working through it quick enough and all that. So at the beginning, I usually tell people if you can just keep a notebook or a journal at the end of the day, just begin observing yourself and recording it. In the moment when it comes to disassociation, you really got to go back to that question of, am I safe or am I uncomfortable? Genuinely, if someone is being attacked, harmed, traumatized, whatever it is, disassociating isn't the worst idea ever. If something traumatic is happening to you, I would like a painkiller if I'm in excruciating pain, if I'm in a
Hmm.
really severe place. But then if I'm experiencing the reverberation of something happening, or if I just feel uncomfortable, like I feel upset, I feel angry, it really is a mindfulness practice of I feel this way and I can also be aware, I can operate, I can move through my life. Being able to hold two things simultaneously is really, really important when it comes to disassociating because it kind of goes to like, whoo, I'm out. Physically,
Yeah.
I'm here. Emotionally, I'm here, but I'm also just consciously over here. If you can hold both, I am uncomfortable and I can be present, which takes work. It does
Hmm.
take a lot of work. It allows you just to be present and allows you to feel. Because again, well, maybe not again, maybe for the first time, if I am feeling something I don't like that's painful, why would I want to be sticking around for it? But then apply that to I don't want to stick around all the time. I'm just out the door, out the door. Being able to just feel the uncomfortable feelings is just as important as enjoying the comfortable feelings.
Hmm.
So being a friend to your discomfort. Comfort is along with stress, that's a big one. I mean, your relationship with comfort, I'm not saying to be uncomfortable, but if people recognize either they become too comfortable and lazy or they become uncomfortable and they become avoidant, you have to
Yes.
look at being able to just be in the process. And one of the best tools I've heard is when something uncomfortable is going on, tell yourself, I love this part.
Mm.
It's a really weird little workaround, but telling yourself in the moment when it doesn't feel comfortable, say, no, I really love this part. I really enjoy this part. And it can actually help you to, it tricks your brain, by the way,
Yep.
to just be present with, I don't feel good, but I really love this part. I'm going to be present for this. And you kind of trick yourself into being present for it.
It works. Yeah, I feel like that
Yeah.
works. Yeah. You have to trick your mind a little bit. But I think like what you're saying, when you're recognizing these patterns, emotions that do come up, if you're safe or you're uncomfortable,
Hmm.
when you're learning how to be more in that discomfort, you're
Hmm.
improving your whole well-being, like yourself. You're
Oh, yeah.
understanding yourself way better because there's still going to be times like you're never not going to have, you know,
Oh,
these
yeah.
like bad emotions or poor emotions that are like or difficult, I should say. Emotions are always going to be there, but I think the more you can handle them and find tools, like you said, the shield, or even just telling yourself you're responsible for how you react, how your emotions are.
Mhm.
And yeah, I think all of that, again, takes work, but
It
um,
takes work. Yeah.
it's so important. Like, yeah, especially emotionally.
The other thing to look at is from an energetic point of view, the physical body has its own immune system, but so does the mental and emotional bodies. There are more like circulatory systems that create a resistance. It creates an outward field that pushes against external energies. When we have issues that remain unhealed, it creates a part that becomes less resilient within the emotional body itself. And what that looks like is we are more likely to take on external energies and circulate them with our own.
Mm,
But the more that you heal core issues, the more that it creates a robust emotional body. And literally in acupuncture, it's referred to as Wei Qi, the external field that actually is the immune system of the field itself. Emotionally, it's when you begin being able to feel emotions but move through them as opposed to getting caught. And the way I tell people in terms of emotional resiliency, emotional immune systems is look at your emotional body like your physical body. What's your diet?
yes.
Do you have difficulties digesting emotions? Do you put in things in your emotional body that really shouldn't be there? Not because like you don't want to know. Certainly people want to know these things. They want to interact with these parts of themselves and different people and all this stuff. But because if you know yourself, you also know how much you can sometimes handle and sometimes how much you cannot handle. And so I tell people on an emotional level, do you have a crappy emotional diet? Are you putting in stuff in your emotional system that really is not going to help? And I get the occasional, like you have an issue, an interaction with someone that doesn't go well, stuff like that. But if you think about long term, do people put
Hmm.
themselves in positions where they're eating a crappy emotional diet?
Oh my God, Nick, I love this. We got to work on our emotional diet,
It's oh
everyone.
no, it's completely true. And people, there is literally emotional indigestion. You can see it because the person just cannot break down and separate the nutrients from the crap. And
Yeah.
they get stuck in the state where emotionally they cycle. In Ayurveda, to speak to my colleague, the emotional digestive system and the physical digestive system are
Mm.
very parallel to the point that if you have a really healthy digestion, you actually will have a healthy emotional digestion and vice versa. But then some people get stuck with emotional indigestion. They can't handle it, or their body just passes it through. And it's
Mm-hmm.
very analogous in terms of how we process emotions.
I
It's
love
really, really
this.
cool.
I love
Yeah.
this. Yeah, I don't know if you know, this is exactly what I'm working on with my program with clients is
Oh,
their gut.
cool.
Yeah, their
Oh, yeah,
digestion.
beautiful.
Yeah, so I love this conversation because yeah, I'm helping, women with their bloating, their constipation, all these issues. So like I'm glad that we're talking about this because yeah, your gut's your second brain. Honestly, I sometimes think it's your first brain because
Oh, yeah.
like it connects so deeply to that vagus nerve and your nervous system regulation. And so I love that we're kind of segueing into that because yeah, I mean, the women in my personal experience and like clients that I've worked with dealing with anxiety or depression or just yeah, poor stress management, like a lot of
Hmm.
that is your gut and like what's going on there. Um and so I think
Oh,
yeah,
man, that is a massive topic. Yes. Oh, completely. I,
it's insane.
so I don't get to work as a nutritionist, so this is
Yeah.
not in my,
Yeah.
my scope in terms of working with people. That's why I have Asti, by the way, the Ayurveda
Yeah.
practitioner. But the amount of how much diet affects our bodies, and I got to have a firsthand experience of this. I went through an entire year-long Ayurvedic protocol.
Awesome.
I dropped like 35 pounds and my
Yeah.
digestion was just completely cleared up. It was really, really cool. I'm actually getting back onto it right now.
Nice.
But I got to literally, I mean, there's some things that were so trippy that happened. I'd eat food and I could actually feel where the food was in my digestion because I could start feeling my like enteric nervous system, which I don't think is possible, but for whatever reason, I could feel what my stomach was doing. I could feel my intestines and my digest. It was really, really cool. And it was just really showcased to me how much the gut and how much our emotions are just so interconnected. I mean, I think people, weirdly enough, like they can come in with these big issues. If they cleared out their gut, well, I'd probably
Yeah.
be out of a job. So, but
I was just gonna say good.
oh,
We would take you out of yeah, out of work.
oh no, it's crazy because you can have two people that are perfectly good as
Yeah.
partners that end up in these arguments and these issues. And it's weirdly enough not the issue. It can sometimes be they have a hormonal or gut imbalance,
Yeah.
and it just makes everything that's small big.
100%. It's
Uh,
wild. It's
People that
yeah.
have major PTSD issues, the very first thing I tell them to do is work with their gut.
Wow.
Oh, it's so yeah, oh yeah.
It's
Mental health.
everything. I
Oh yeah.
know. Like and yeah, again, that's why I'm so passionate about it and like with nutrition and exercise and a big piece of it is emotional balance and that's why I wanted to have you on because this is a big part of it. Like
Oh
actually
yeah.
like attacking your, being able to regulate your emotions and simultaneously working on your gut. Like there's a lot you can do emotionally to like ground yourself and be more in that present state is going to help your digestion overall, right? You're going to be able to actually
Right.
digest food better when you're in that state of calm.
Yep.
And it can be really hard to do that if you are someone that is dissociating or not actually feeling the feelings. And
Mhm.
yeah, I love it. I love this topic because I think everyone, it's not just one thing too, right? Like, yes,
Yeah.
obviously work on your gut, but like also work through the trauma that you've had and, but even just all those things together, it's like the recipe for like healing. And
Oh, totally. One thing I tell a lot of people to make it very simple is if your body was like a little dog that you were taking care of, are you taking care of all the needs that that little animal needs? I
mm-hmm.
mean, it's like sleep. If you're feeling anxious, have you gone for a walk? I mean, you're
Yeah.
getting your body moving, you're exercising. Are you giving really, I mean, a really simple one is, do you have good quality water? And are you drinking enough of it? And sometimes people they drink enough water, by the way, but their body's not digesting it. So you can
Mm-hmm.
put like a pinch of sugar or a pinch of salt or maybe sometimes lemon to help it so it digests and actually gets into the cells. And then the final thing, and this has gotten kind of more difficult, especially in the US, which is, are you eating good quality food and are you
Yes.
eating food made for your body type?
Yes.
Oh, it's such a pain in the butt because the American culture, we just decided let's take the diet thing, let's take the food thing and just pump it full of crap.
Crap.
Oh,
junk and
oh,
make it process and put all these chemicals in it. And
oh
it's
man.
wild, right? Like 70% of the store is just packaged items.
Oh
And
yeah.
it's insane. But you're exactly right. I love that analogy. Like, because again, I had this conversation with someone else the other week of it's such a silly thing when you
Mhm.
think of people will have their dog and they will take such great care. They'll do anything for their dog, quality food, water, taking them on a walk. And it's like, are you doing the
Yeah.
same for yourself?
Oh yeah. I mean,
Like,
it's kind of funny because I think we think of ourselves as being like we're human and we're big issues and big stuff and all of that. But if you look at it like, is it just the basic? Maybe it's just you didn't sleep well enough last night.
mm-hmm,
Like maybe you need to get fed. Like it can be something simple sometimes when it comes to issues. Even people that have major PTSD, again, is your gut balanced? Are you getting adequate water, good sleep? Because it's not
mm-hmm,
that the PTSD magically goes away. But what it means is that it can become less intense because you can have the issue and then you toss a gut imbalance on top of that,
yes.
and it blows it out of proportion.
100, yes, exactly. Like the simple foundational things are going to help you process better and yeah, be able to manage stress better
Oh
because
yeah.
it's going to be that much harder if you are eating more inflammatory foods.
Oh
You're
yeah.
eating a lot more of these processed foods that you can't digest and aren't actually giving your body the nutrients, the vitamins and minerals that your body needs to actually put it in a state of healing. And yeah, it just makes it so much harder if we're not giving
Oh
ourselves the basic items of water, hydration, walking.
yeah. And I think the other thing that's important for people to hear is it takes a lot of work nowadays, at least in the US, to
Mm-hmm.
have a good diet and to eat well, but it takes a lot more work to have a mental health issue. It takes a lot more work to maintain all these different things. I get that certain things are convenient, but the people get so caught up in short-term thinking, like this tastes really good. This is like, I satiate this need, but
Yeah.
then the long term is you'll feel better more often long term if you just look at tweaking your diet.
Yes.
But if people often gets caught up in the immediate gratification and the pleasure and it feels good and all that, and then they end up completely missing like what's the bigger thing in your life? Like what's your purpose? What's the thing in terms of your health long term and connecting to
Yes.
that? So,
Yes. Yeah, you got to connect to your why.
oh
Like,
yeah.
what is your long-term purpose? And again, this was another similar conversation I was having with a client is, with exercise and like training really hard and eating right and she's doing all the right things, but it's like understanding why you're doing that in the first place. Like, what
Mhm.
is your long-term goal or like purpose with is it just being a great mom, being with your kids, like always honing in on that because that's going to help you keep going
Oh
on
yeah.
those hard days and make those right choices that you need to. Especially yeah, when it comes to nutrition because yeah, it's so easy to
Oh
just
yeah.
like go yeah, go get fast food, go get this, but like you're saying the long-term gain of what are you doing more often than not? I would say like 80% of the time, 90%
Mhm.
ideally, and then the other 10% is those sweet treats
Yeah.
that you want, other
And I,
things.
I think that's the other thing to be aware of is if you get good sleep 5 days out of the week and then the other two you stay up late and have fun, that's great. That means you have a balanced life where you have your core. If the majority of the time you eat healthy food, enjoy the unhealthy food from time to time. But I think we're kind of the opposite thing. There's more available calories in a 1 mile radius. I can go to a 7-Eleven, get a Snickers bar and all that. And I think it's just about understanding that balance. And then more to what you said in terms of motivation, if you want people to do something, don't give them logic, give them emotions.
Mm-hmm.
If you have someone who's a mom, they do it for the kids or do it for like, I want to one day achieve this. Get people connected to their emotional state when they want to understand why they want to do something. And that's really a beautiful thing is getting someone to say, well, I want to do this because it's healthy or unhealthy. It's like, no, you want to do this because you want this type of life. You want this.
Yes. Yeah, what is your quality of life? Yeah, what do you
Yeah.
want that to look like? Yeah, that's everything. Um, what about okay, so let's go into kind of like a rapid fire a little bit.
Okay.
What do you
I'm
feel
ready.
like the most understood emotion is?
We'll say that again.
Most under wait, most misunderstood emotion.
Oh, there's so many.
I
Okay.
know.
I would go between guilt maybe anger. I think some people kind of get the idea of anger, but I think most people don't understand guilt.
Ooh, what do we
Yeah.
think? Like, why is it misunderstood?
Well, because okay, most people they operate with guilt and they collapse guilt with it being like a lot of people collapse guilt and love.
Mm,
And they're not even remotely close. Guilt is usually, I'm going to be very brief and direct about this one. It's usually a group dynamic that influences an individual to go into the group. What that means is there's a set of rules, commandments, laws, social norms, but what it is the guilt is about not acting in the morality of the whole or in the rules of the whole. A lot of people think of guilt as a good thing, and it's not always a good thing because people can make you feel guilty for something that doesn't apply to you.
mm.
And so I could go on a whole long tangent about guilt. It's one of my favorite guilt and self-punishment and stress. They're like a real fun topic for me. I
Yeah,
love
that is
talking about
super
that.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I could see how that would be more about other people
Yeah.
and like you feeling guilty for how those other people are
Yeah.
making you feel or the rules, yeah, that they're
Now,
putting on.
there's the one thing I would say is not collapsing guilt with personal responsibility. People oftentimes say, I feel guilty, and they take that as I'm being responsible, and that's not true at all.
Mm,
Guilt might be something that shows you that you need to be responsible for something. Someone had an infidelity, someone hurt another person, they feel guilty. That might signal to you to do something about it. But guilt is not the final stop. It shouldn't be like you reside in guilt because I'm a bad person or something wrong with me. It's like guilt is just an awareness piece that signals to do something about it.
got it, got it. Okay, that was a good one.
Yeah.
What emotion do people avoid the most?
Oh, stress. That's not an emotion, but what emotion do people avoid the most? Uh, Stress and discomfort, even though they don't count as emotions. It depends. For certain people, sadness would be a major avoidable emotion. Some people, it's kind of fear, I would say.
Mm, yeah,
But the biggest one is fear of something that they don't know about. Fear of the unknown would be the biggest avoided emotion.
yes,
But it's not an emotion, but I'd say stress and discomfort are the biggest avoided
yeah,
one. But if
yeah.
it's got to be an emotion, I'd say fear.
Okay, fear. Hey, that fits perfect with this podcast, the growth over fear.
Yeah.
One, ooh, okay. One question to ask yourself when you're feeling emotionally drained.
Oh, okay. Well, it's simple. What do I need?
Mm,
If I'm feeling emotionally drained, there's something that's not being taken care of. And it could be totally natural. Like you go for a jog and you get exhausted. What do I need? I need to take a nap. I need to take a shower. When it's emotionally drained, it's the same thing. What do I need? Do I need to not deal with this? Do I need to do I need to talk to someone? Do I need to
mm-hmm.
drink more water? What is it I need?
Love it. Very easy. Love it. One sign that it's time to step back and care for yourself.
Oh, irritability.
Mm,
It that's going to the other misunderstood emotion. If someone is angry or irritable, it is a communication to you that a thing is out of balance. Whether or not it's appropriate that's out of balance, it could be on a set of values that you have, like you get angry about those values. But irritability is a sign that you need to take a step back and something is out of balance.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. So it's funny. The reason I'm like, oh yeah, I understand this is have you heard the book Letting Go?
No,
The Pathway of Surrender?
no.
David Hawkins
Okay.
is the doctor or that wrote it. And anyways, was I actually did like an audiobook and listened to it, but he goes into every single emotion. And
Oh, cool.
it's super cool to like understand like it goes over grief, fear,
Yep.
desire, anger, pride, courage, acceptance. And it was just so fascinating because he went
Yeah.
over that like all the how they show up in like positive ways or negative ways and yeah, super cool.
I'm actually going to be creating this in the next year. That's actually really cool to see someone do that. So in the Tai Yi lens, we look at every emotion has a tie to a positive and a negative emotion.
Mm,
So the opposite emotion of negative anger is positive anger. So positive anger would also be called passion. This is one that
Yes.
almost no one gets that I've seen. The opposite of grief, or sorry, not grief, it's the opposite of guilt. Guilt being like being drawn into a group dynamic, being drawn into like I should or shouldn't, is actually pride.
Hmm.
Yeah. Pride is very individualized when it's healthy pride and it's about expressing who you are and being aware of and proud of it, where guilt is more about an externalized moral system.
Hmm.
But that's actually really cool. I'm going to go through the all the different emotions in Tai Yi. There's seven core positive emotions and
Okay.
seven negative emotions, and they all pair with each other. I'm gonna
That's
help do a whole
cool.
video. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to creating it.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely let me know. Yeah, I feel like that
Definitely
would benefit a lot of people. If people stopped doing this, their energy would instantly improve.
punishing themselves.
That was easy
So
for you to
Oh,
answer.
one of my favorite. Oh no, it's my favorite topic. So, you know when your computer is going into overdrive and the fans are going off and it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
all the RAM is being used up. Self-punishment, self-criticism, being hard on yourself, being self-effacing, all these different things that is just under the topic of self-punishment. It takes up so much extra energy. It's crazy how if you were to take away self-punishment from people, which I've worked with people and gotten to do this with, it's like you have an extra space on your computer. You've got extra energy, but it is one of the biggest things that detracts from people's energy is being self-critical, self-punishing, self-effacing. It makes it more difficult to do the next thing that you want to do as well.
Oh,
Because like you
100%.
do something, you punish yourself, it makes more resistance and more resistance as you do that thing.
Hmm.
But yeah, self-punishment would bar none be the thing that takes away most
How
people's
how
energy.
does that show up?
So the I go through a lot of questions with people about this. Self-punishment can look different for different people, but largely it looks like it looks like one thing, which is asking the question, did I do enough?
Yeah.
If people answer the question, that word enough, am I good enough? Did I do enough? It creates this little bar right here where if I get above it, I probably won't punish myself, but if I'm below it, I'll punish
Mm-hmm.
myself. Then the question is where did you set the bar? If I ask someone to do a task and I say, you're going to do 100% of the task and they get 20% of it done, do they congratulate themselves? Do they say, I did it really well? Do they review it? Or do they say, there's 80% more? God, I'm a terrible person. I'm not good enough. And it circulates that way where we compare ourselves to a metric and then we absolutely smack the crap out of ourselves. And
Yes.
the thing to remember when it comes to self-punishment is you can get a donkey to move forward by hitting it with a stick or by dangling a carrot in front of it. And they're both effective, but you tend to hurt the donkey just a little bit more when you smack the crap out of it over and over again.
Oh, such a good analogy.
There's
This
so
is
much more to that I can go on about, but I'm just keeping it really simple for
no,
right
I
now.
love that
Yeah.
because again, working with women clients, this is us. Like we're not doing enough. We're not
Oh
good
yeah.
enough because we keep doing more and more and more. We have to like, okay, I missed this workout, so I'm not good enough. Or like, I ate a crappy meal, so like,
Yep.
well, that wasn't enough. Or yeah, we always have to do more and more, whether it's in business, your career,
Oh yeah.
workouts,
You
nutrition.
you gotta first off, you gotta look at where do you put enough, where do you put that bar, and do people have all or none thinking?
Yeah.
I had a client that the way I phrased it is they were sober 124 days out of 125, and then they went on to the next day. They had one day they relapsed, and there's a tendency to go full force in terms of I did it wrong, I did it bad, and then get punishing, effacing.
Mm-hmm.
Self-punishment, I'm going to say this about guilt as, or like I said about guilt as well. Self-punishment is not responsible. People think punishing themselves is very responsible. It has nothing to do with fixing the situation or doing better.
What's it doing then?
So, okay, thank you. I totally want to go on this tangent.
Go on it. Go.
Okay, I'm gonna.
We need this.
So, if you look at the our judicial system, I'm gonna take a step back as well. I'm gonna talk about that in a sec. If you look at when I taught high school, there's something called restorative justice. And restorative justice is you have an issue, you address the issue, and you address it that's appropriate to that issue. So I used to work as a high school teacher. I have a Swiss Army knife on me, which is the world's most convenient thing to have on a keychain. Because I have a little screwdriver, I've got like a little knife, a little toothpick if I need it. I'm
Okay,
just a little
perfect.
I'm a dude. I love it. I don't know. I just like having my little Swiss Army knife. I lose it about once every 6 months because I end up forgetting that I have it on my keychain, and then
Oh my God.
the TSA totally takes it. But I was in high school. I was teaching high school for a year back when I taught high school, and there was a package that came in for the class, and we're in between periods. I pull out my Swiss Army knife, I pop open a knife, I open up the box, I put it away. It doesn't dawn on me that there's anything about this. There's nothing. I'm just opening up a package. This one kid absolutely responds to this. He kind of freaks out, and we have this whole issue between me and him. So me and the school counselor sit down and we do restorative justice. Restorative justice looks like Nick, the teacher, pulled out a knife in a classroom, which is a bit disproportionate to what happened. There weren't anyone else besides like a few kids, and there's a package. But there was a comprehension of this kid's history around knives.
Mm,
He has a lot of things I'm not going to go into that were very reactive and very intense for him around that experience. So the restorative justice wasn't me saying, kid, go to the principal, you're out of here, I'm going to punish you. It was, let's understand your version. Let's understand my version. What can we do to restore this? I'm
mm,
not putting you down. I'm not punishing you. I'm not sending you away. I'm allowing the situation to be understood so it can be restored. In our judiciary system, you have the sense of someone did something really bad and we put them away for a long period of time. What does that have to do with the original issue?
mm.
Is there a restoration of the issue? If I stole a loaf of bread from a bakery, there's a few things that get impacted. Obviously, financial to the baker, trust in terms of their connection to me, if they have any, and maybe there's some fallout emotionally from that baker. Like I can't trust people in terms of other people stealing. Punishment would be send him to the gallows, put him away. He stole my bread. This is totally a reference to Les Miserables, by the way.
Okay.
But you do that and you send him away. There's no restoration of the original cause.
Mm-hmm.
You are punishing themselves. You're putting it away. Punishment, in terms of we do this because you did something bad, doesn't relate to what the action was. You don't understand the intention. You understand what's going on. If I go to that baker and I pay them and I maybe work a little extra to help restore trust with that baker or do something that restores that situation, restorative justice is the opposite of punishment. To apply this on a personal level, I didn't do it. I'm not good enough. Okay, I didn't get past my good enough threshold. Okay, got it. What do I need to do within myself to help the situation?
Mm.
Punishment is I did something bad, slap myself, don't look at it, feel bad. Where restorative justice or restoration of the situation says, what did I do? What do I need to do better or to help or to restore
Yeah.
the situation? Those two things, they're not always compatible. You punish someone, they're just going to be afraid of the punishment. They're not going to understand the issue itself.
That was really helpful. I'm like, sorry, I'm just like processing this.
Oh
So,
yeah.
yeah, like you're basically understanding, yeah, like what you can do better next time, which I,
Yeah.
yeah, always agree with, right? Like, how can we show up better? This is a learning experience. Like, how can you
Yes.
continue to move the needle and push forward?
Yes.
However, how to not be in that mindset of like you're constantly doing more and striving for more and never being satisfied. Then,
There's a great quote, don't let perfection be the enemy of good enough.
mm,
If people get perfectionistic in their process, that can be helpful. If they get perfectionistic in their destination, they're screwed. If you get caught up in I have to be perfect, I have to be all the things versus like, how can I do better? Or
mm,
sometimes doing better is not even the way to do it. It's just like, how can I not be hard on myself?
yes.
Now, I'm not saying to not be motivated, not have a desire, but punishment actually works against motivation. Not a lot of people realize that when they punish themselves.
Yeah, because you're putting up resistance,
Yes.
right?
Think of it this way. I'm riding a donkey. I want the donkey to
Yeah.
go over there. I whack the crap out of it. Now the donkey does go over there. There certainly is an effect of like it does something.
Yeah.
Will it always want me to smack it?
No.
Is
Yes.
eventually it's probably going to either be injured, it's probably going to try to kick me off. It's not going to like it.
So true. Oh, that was such a good,
Yeah.
yeah, topic to go into because, yeah, I feel like, again, so many women struggle with that. We're always,
Oh yeah.
it's hard to like celebrate the now and like how far you
Yes.
have come already. There's always that, there's also that like picture meme or whatever it was. It was like a guy digging a hole and
Yeah.
like right, and it's like the next, like he's like 2 inches away, and then he'll get like the treasure or whatever. But like if he stops, like he like totally missed it, even though it was like right there.
We're culturally embedded, we're culturally geared towards punishment towards ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is completely set up. Our educational system, you literally get graded. That says you how good enough you are.
Yeah.
Your finances, when you end up working, literally you're driving down the road. If you go over the speed limit,
Yeah.
we are a very punishment-oriented world
That's
culture,
true. So it's already working
and
against
so
us.
we internalize. Yeah, yeah. And guilt and punishment, by the way, I'm going on. I'm doing the circle. I'm completing the circle. When people feel guilty or they feel not good enough, they tend to punish themselves.
Mm.
Literally, in our judicial system, you're guilty, you did it, which there's
Yeah.
a difference between you did something and you feel guilty about doing something. We collapse them. Literally,
Yeah.
in the judicial system, you're guilty. That's actually the verbiage we use, but they're very separate. If you did something, you can be responsible for it. You can do what you need to do to work with it.
Mm-hmm.
But guilt and specifically self-punishment, they tend to veer us off from actually working on the core issue. They're very
Yes.
distracting.
Because you want to, yeah, like you said, go back to restoring it. Like,
Restore,
oh,
yes.
yeah, restoring the
And
issue.
people collapse guilt and punishment with that I'm being responsible. It's not responsible.
Hmm.
It's a difficult thing to hear because then they go, "What do I do?" It's like, well, it's based on the individual thing that happened. What was your intention? What happened? What was the outcome?
Mm.
Understanding the impact, understanding what you can do about that impact, and then working with that versus like feeling guilty is all internally taking that issue.
Yes.
Punishing yourself is all about internally taking it. Doesn't have anything to do with the actual issue.
Mm-hmm.
Like
And then,
adding weight.
yeah, adding weight, and then you're holding on to that
Oh yeah. Oh
for
yeah.
so long. Like, you need to release that.
No.
Yeah. Okay, do I have one more? Um, I think that was most of them. Um, what do you feel like is the like, do you have a favorite I mean, emotion is like happy, but like,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. No, this is actually I got a whole thing on this one. This is a great,
okay,
yeah. I wouldn't say favorite emotion, but I would say the most undervalued one
yeah.
is contentment.
Mm,
Wanting what you already have, having that level of gratitude and enjoyment of what you already have. I think that's probably the best emotion. Happiness, you can take all sorts of drugs and feel happy. That's not really that great of an emotion. People get caught up in the like, just like punishment, they get caught up in the seeking happiness. Being
yes.
content, looking at your life, allowing yourself to just enjoy what you already have. Most people, they go live life in the future, meaning I'm going to accomplish this, I'm going to do that, as opposed to, well, where are you? Do
Mm-hmm.
you enjoy where you are? What can you make it a little bit better? Like maybe I don't like how I'm sitting, so I just adjust my chair so it feels better. Or maybe I need to go for a walk. Like these are small things, but
Yeah.
you try to be like the world's richest man, and it's not like you're more happy. It's
Yes.
that doesn't have anything to do with being actually content, with actually enjoying life. So
That's so
yeah.
true. That's a beautiful one. Is it similar to peace, or how are they different?
Oh man, I could go on for a while about this. Peace is knowing yourself and being content with that. That's what peace is.
Okay.
A lot
So
of
more
people
about
think of
yourself.
peace as like you have to be in an environment where everything is controlled and it's
Mm-hmm.
okay. That definition of peace leads to war. I have to have everything controlled. I have to have everything a certain way, and then I'll be okay. Versus peace is if I know who I am, I'm content with who I am. I can be in very dangerous places. I can be in a war zone and still have internal peace. Doesn't mean I don't run
Yeah.
from bullets and all that. But peace is like I could have family members over. Most of my family is great, but like I'm thinking of my client from earlier today, and be very uncomfortable and not like it, but still know who I am and still be at peace with who I am.
Mm-hmm.
Even though there is not peace out here, I can still have peace in here.
Beautiful to wrap this
Yeah.
up, because that's literally what you were kind of alluding to earlier, of like knowing yourself and like being true to who you are, of knowing all parts of you, your values, that creates peace.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
the one thing I'd say is it's knowing yourself. You might see other people, but it's knowing who you are
Mm-hmm.
and how quirky and weird we all are and how like people are weird and they're beautiful and don't try to be other people. For love of God, don't do that.
Just be who you are.
Yeah,
Own your, yeah. I love that. Amazing. Okay, one last question, my signature question that I ask every guest, since my goal is to help others overcome their fears, lean into
sure.
growth in all aspects of your life. What have you done in your life that allowed you to experience tremendous growth, but took getting out of your fears?
I guess to go with the theme of all of it, it's when when I realized I was very different, very weird, um, and I began to celebrate that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think, yeah, the biggest thing I did was I just began to say, yeah, so this is who I am, and embrace that.
You are pretty weird,
Totally, very weird,
which is
but
such a great thing.
I'm happy.
Yes.
I've got clients. I'm like, you could be like the average person, but the average person's not usually happy. You can be weird and be happy, and I'd go that
Yes.
route all day long.
Yeah. That's so beautiful, Nick. That's
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah. And that creates probably more contentment in your life.
Oh yeah, completely. It took me a while to figure it out, but I feel like I got way closer.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's so amazing. This has been so fun. So tell the listeners like where they can find your practice, how they can reach
Oh,
out
sure.
to you, what you offer.
Sure. I'm located in Denver, Colorado. My practice is, you can find it at namadia.com, which is spelled N as in Nancy, I-A. Oh, wait, no, I already did it wrong. Namadia. Namadia.com. Um, what I do is I operate as a psychotherapist. I do a lot of more holistic or more energetic components. I also do the healing modality, life energy flow Tai Yi, which is very similar to acupuncture. It's much more of an energetic modality. And then I also do cranial sacral adjustments as it relates usually to mental health stuff to get people to drop into their body, but primarily psychotherapy. And I'm really honored to be one of the practitioners that does Tai Yi, which is wonderful.
Yeah, that's so cool. That's amazing. Weren't you? Yeah, how many are there?
Well, it says I need to update the profile. So it says I'm only one of 40. It's actually more, I'm only one of 35. We
Oh
had a few
wow.
people pass away a few years ago.
Oh my
So
god.
yeah,
Dang.
it
Yeah.
happens. I'm actually one of the youngest people that does it.
Oh
So
dang.
yeah, well, there's actually a new class that's coming in of students, which will be great.
Okay.
We
Yeah.
get to have more in the world. And I'm like in the actual practitioner level, and I get to work with people. And
That's so cool.
it's only about
That's awesome.
35. Yeah.
Yeah. And can they reach so they find you on your website? Can they
Yeah.
reach? Okay.
Yeah. Namadia.com.
And do you do any virtual? I can't
Yeah, I
remember.
do work with people virtually.
Okay.
I enjoy the face-to-face and
Yeah.
human experience, and I can work with people virtually as well.
Okay. Amazing. Well, Nick, this has been so fun. Is there anything else you want to leave us with? Any other
Yes,
wisdom?
yes. Go take a look at everything you already have and enjoy it. Not what you don't have, but what you already have, and just enjoy that and let yourself relax for a minute about trying to get anywhere and just allow yourself to enjoy where you're at. That's what I'd say.
So beautiful. Thank you so much. This has been so fun. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me.
Yes.